Hi, this is Dan Wood. We are live with the Break Digital Marketing Podcast, and my guest today is Amy Evans, founder of Yellow Kitchen Media. She is a content marketer and copywriter and brand strategist. And today we're going to talk about AI and copywriting and other things in my notes, which I've lost. So we're going to just make it up from scratch
Oh, fun.
and go from there.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, we talked before about copywriting and kind of the state of AI and how, at least like a year ago, everyone was saying, oh no, it's going to replace all of the white collar jobs. I'm seeing in the ad channels, in Meta ads and Google ads, more and more content suggestion and headline writing and automated descriptions and things. But they're really limited because those ad platforms don't actually understand your business. They don't understand your customer. So it's great for filling in the blanks, but it's not there yet.
Yeah.
It's not replacing anyone yet, I guess, let's say.
Yeah. And I think we're finding that in every scenario, actually. So there was a little bit of over-promising or over-hyping done about a year ago, which is
Right.
good news for us in the creative and white-collar jobs, because it means that we have a little bit of time to lean into it. But I think you're right. I've seen that in the copywriting and the content creation sphere as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. I don't have a flying car yet either. I'm still
I
waiting on that.
know. And I was a big Jetsons fan. I
Yeah.
was all for the
Yeah.
flying cars. Yeah, yeah. I'm thinking like even recently, I was just looking at the Prada pop-up from downtown London. Did you see any of that?
No, I didn't actually.
I mean, Prada, luxury brand, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's going there for this experience. And they had this huge thing. They were like, we're going to make an AI video of everyone who comes and visits the exhibit. You go in and you step into this very scary looking like cage of 300 cameras. And from that, they're going to
Wow.
make your AI avatar and they're going to give you a video. And it's this big thing. It's very, very hyped. You know, Prada's this luxury experience, has been this institution for a long time, and now they're getting
Totally.
absolutely eaten alive online because people are showing them the videos that they got from this experience, which are the strangest, most like awkward looking things ever. I implore you to look at some of these examples because
Okay. Yeah, I'll
you'll
check it out.
laugh heartily at them, because I think it's like yet again, it doesn't understand human experience yet, right?
Right.
And so just in the same way, like AI is not understanding human behaviors in those ads, in those suggestions that you're seeing. It's not understanding what people are wanting from a video of them in Prada, because I'm not sure that we ourselves understand human experience or
I,
behavior all the
I was just
time.
going to say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still working on it
Yeah, I know,
myself.
me too.
Yeah.
Me too. And so some of these predictions and the conclusions that the AI is jumping to is really yielding some hilarious results as well. And I think that's good news for me as a copywriter. And it also
Hmm.
means you can't, it might be bad news for you if you're a solopreneur who is doing everything on your own right now, because it means you can't quite rely on AI as the safety net that maybe you thought you could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In a lot of ways, I think it's really useful and helpful and really cool,
Hmm.
but it's also the latest buzzword. Like, we had Web 3.0, and before that, it was Internet of Things.
Yes, and there
Right.
was crypto and NFTs
Yeah. Which are
and
still out there, but
Dogecoin, or which are there, but I feel like they really had a moment and then feel like they are not on top of the moment anymore, you know?
yeah, I think it takes time for technology to find its place, kind of like when TV first came out, probably the first 10 years or so of television. I'm not sure the right number there, but they were just recording live stage plays and broadcasting them live. It
Yeah,
was it was just a radio show with pictures because they
right.
didn't it hadn't evolved into its own medium yet. So
Yeah.
maybe
No one
that's where
really,
we are with all these other things too.
that's a good comparison. I think that's apt. I think probably we're going to see in the next 10 years someone who can really see new possibilities and think about things in different ways. And that's where we'll really see the AI revolution there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So how in the world of copywriting, like what do you
Yeah.
say when people are like, "Oh, you're a writer. How come you still have work?"
Mostly I say because people aren't as
To
good as
be
giving directions as they think they are. So I think if
right.
you've
Yeah.
ever played with Claude or ChatGPT or any of these large language models, you'll see that you can spend quite a bit of time with them and they can do some cool things. But if you're really trying to get something to sound like you, and to create something that makes your brand stand out, you're going to have a harder time than you think because you're probably not as in tune with your brand as you think you are, and you're not as great at giving directions as you think you are. At least that's what I found of the majority of some pretty high performing folks and high performing brands in the area. They're like, oh well, this should be easy. I'll just have ChatGPT spit something out, and what it spits out is something that is what a large language model is, which is kind of like a conglomeration of a lot of different things. But unfortunately, that also means that it ends up sounding kind of generic. And
Right.
when it comes to branding, generic is not something you want to be.
Yeah.
So,
So what's your process then when you're working with a client? How do you find that I guess it's voice of brand or their identity?
yeah, so a lot of brands will have a branding book already if they have done a lot of work on their brand and messaging, boilerplate copy. I always start there, and if they don't, for example, I work with a lot of like personal brands, and a lot of people have gotten around to getting the messaging down in their personal brand. That is always where I start. So your mission and your vision, your core values, your target audience, and we go very, very specific on your target audience.
Hmm.
And then your specific unique value proposition. Why are you different? What problem are you going to solve for me? And what are the symptoms of that problem that I'm feeling right now that I want to be solved for me? And we'll start there. We'll get that all together. And then we'll say, okay, so now what are the actual words we need to write on this website or this piece of collateral or this lead magnet or something like that?
Right. So it becomes the source of all the rest of their messaging.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, it all flows from this branding and messaging document, which I do sometimes use ChatGPT or Claude for after I have a lot of those branding foundations. You can train a Claude or a ChatGPT to with all of that information, and it'll help you kind of get over the initial drafting. I do find it super super useful for that, and I think what we have
Okay.
talked about before, you and I, that sentiment that you're not going to be replaced by an AI, you're going to be replaced by someone who knows how to use an AI.
Right.
I
Yeah.
tend to think that's a little bit more accurate, and it's why I've really leaned into it in the last couple of years, and it has saved me. It's allowed me to be a lot more prolific in the work that I put out, but it's always just like a starter, get you over that initial hump of creation. So yeah, so I'll train the
Right
AI
on.
on the branding values, and then have it spit out some kind of rough draft for me, and then go from there.
Okay. Maybe it's just like a progression then from
Mhm.
20 years ago we had spell check, and then 10 years ago we had grammar correction, and now we
Yeah,
just have like sentence completion and
yeah,
paragraph construction.
right, right.
Yeah.
And I think people did freak out about spell check in grammar check early on. We're like, well, this is going to be the end of folks really knowing how to use these things. And I think I'm not sure that that has been the case, thankfully.
Yeah. I find myself not remembering how to spell words properly just because I haven't had to spell anything correctly
Had
in
to for a
so
long
long.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of falling by the wayside. And the more the audio transcribes into text, the more we're not even actually typing or writing anymore, which is really cool.
That's right. Doing that here. Removing, three steps from the process, which I like
Yeah.
that as well. I like less time spent editing and transcribing.
Yeah. I've been trying to do a little journaling, like just randomly over the last little while, but I can write so much faster by typing, and I can
So
dictate way
true.
faster than I can type. So,
Have you found your handwriting has gotten worse?
uh, Mm,
I was just having
I
this
think it was
discussion with a
always
bunch of
that bad.
writers. I mean,
Are you looking at
mine has
wow?
always been bad, but
Yeah.
it was about 50-50 in this writers group I was a part of like, can you still read your own handwriting now that you like almost never write by hand anymore? Um,
Yeah.
it's really
I
interesting.
think I was good at it. Like when I was um like way back in school taking notes by hand, like before my first laptop, I thought I was pretty good at writing. I'd have to go dig up some old notebooks. But I remember like actually completing the circles on an A or an O and actually writing on the line. Like I mean,
Yeah,
we're talking a long, long time ago. But
yeah, same. Learning
so tell me,
cursive and all that.
so tell me about your clients and the kind of clients that you work with.
Yeah, I work best with really small businesses. So coaches, consultants, and personal brands are my bread and butter daily with Yellow Kitchen. And I work with a lot of women who are executives or career coaches, executive coaches or career coaches. I really find that I connect with them. I love the message. They're always like so passionate and so energetic about what they're doing, but they also have a lot of
Yeah,
trouble like taking their own advice, which is the kind of
right.
person I really love to work with to kind of draw those brand foundations out of. So I've gotten to work with some CEOs of some really cool small businesses, a lot of business coaches, a lot of like folks who are maybe they have their 5 years under their belt and they're like scaling up and ready to go in new directions.
Cool.
And typically it involves a lot of different things at once. So my ideal client is generally thinking in a lot of different directions at once and needs some like honing in some direction. And so that's why it's always good to start with a branding book.
Very cool. I maybe I haven't been paying attention, but it seems to me like the world is full of coaches now, more
It
than maybe it
does.
was 10 years ago.
Yeah, I think it is. And it's a little confusing because you can the word has a very very general meaning these days a lot of times
Yeah.
because there's not a ton of regulation. A lot of people can kind of call themselves a coach, which is why I really like to work with folks who have been in the game for a few years and who kind of understand and have like sustained themselves and are ready to like do really big things.
Hmm.
Because yeah, I do think it's kind of a saturated space right now if you're trying to be a coach or a course creator.
Yeah, I guess it depends on your niche or your niche.
Yeah. Although
Yeah.
it's almost in every niche you can be a coach now.
Well,
Work with
yeah,
a
as soon
couple.
as Meta finds out that you're interested in something to do with coaching or marketing, I see a new one every day.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Get leads,
yeah.
all of those kind of things. I get a lot of those ads.
Yeah, I actually was, I built a lead generation service for like local service companies.
Yeah.
Um, Based on work I was doing with a client, I basically extracted what was working and then I wanted to go get a new client like that in every other city. And I couldn't break through the messaging, I guess, because
Sure.
I when it got down to it, I just had the same message that everyone else has. Like, would you like more clients and more leads in your inbox when you wake up in the morning? And I thought, how do I even market this without sounding like spam? Um,
Hmm.
and I moved on to other projects. I never actually figured it out because I mean I started doing some cold calling and I the responses I got were actually like some of them really hostile. Like, how dare
Oh,
you try to sell me marketing? Um, Now I'm not really a salesperson by nature, but uh, that yeah just made me stand back and go, oh yeah,
mm,
I just sound like every other scammer online. How would they even possibly know that what I do works other than this case study and this
yeah.
testimonial? But how do I get that in front of them? So
Hmm.
yeah, ultimately I got onto other projects, which is fine. But
Yeah.
it was there's so much. I mean, I stopped trying to sell SEO
Yeah.
15 years ago just because everyone I had met had already been burnt by some overseas link farm
Yeah.
that flipped them upside down on the next algorithm update, and then or they had paid monthly for 2 years and never got anything out of it. So
Mhm.
um, yeah, there's a lot of scammery out there.
A lot of scammery, a lot of like hacking the system that only works for a few months at a time. Really hard to measure success, and a lot of not a ton of regulation there either. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you're right that it's really hard to find your unique value prop in lead generation or something like that. I think you have to have like some capital for sure because the keywords are so competitive. Like if you're running ads or something like that, you just got to throw a lot of money behind it. And also, you might have to like niche your audience pretty specifically. So
Yeah.
instead of like the ones that I see a lot, and this might just be because I'm female, but like there's a lot of like, are you a woman who owns a business? You have different problems than if you're a man who owns a business, and these are them and these are how we solve for them. And that's the only way that I really see people getting around that, because you're right, it's like all the same problem, and it's really hard to differentiate, which is going to be key.
Yeah, I think it's like talking to the customer's pain and having really having them at the center of your story. It seems
Yes.
like more and more, especially with, TikTok is trimming our attention span, and
So true.
where everything is so customized. Have you ever opened another person's Netflix account and
Yeah.
seen like genres you didn't even know existed?
Felt bewildered. What app am I on?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
And and
Very
and we
strange.
forget. I mean, I know that my Facebook is like my Facebook, or
Hmm.
Instagram, it's served to me, but you're also getting your Google search results page, and you're getting your Netflix, and everything is so customized. It's easy to feel like you're the center of the universe. And so when
Hmm.
some marketing messaging speaks to you directly, it sort of fits in with that flow, and then everything else is spam. Everything else is
Hmm.
like,
Hmm.
you get angry, like they're wasting my time, or why would Spotify play that song?
Don't
Um,
they know me at all? Yeah,
yeah.
it's really funny.
Um, So yeah, that's a big challenge in
Yeah, very
marketing.
big challenge. And that's why that branding exercise to me is like so paramount, because folks will go out without being like so clear about how I'm different than the 100,000 other people saying this, and then
Yeah.
try and go and throw a lot of money and time at something and be very disappointed when it doesn't work because they're not saying anything different.
Hmm.
Yeah, you got to know who you're talking to. You got to know where they hang out, and you got to know what, like, not just like the problem that you're solving, but the top of mind symptoms, like not just the fever, but like the headache that the fever causes a lot of the time.
Okay.
So
The real
yeah,
customer pain points.
I find a lot that on social media they call it problem aware content, so a lot of folks don't
Right.
really know what problem they have. Like they think, I just can't get enough clients, I can't get enough leads, but what they really have is a branding problem, right? But they don't know that. They just know, I feel pain about these leads. In
Okay.
your job as a brander is to say, are you having problems getting leads? That's because you have a branding problem. And here's how I know, blah, 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 blah. So similarly with like coaching, right? Or with anything, you start with like the top. Most folks think they know what the problem is, but their problem that is most painful is just a symptom of the larger problem. And educating
Okay.
them about that larger problem is a really effective way to like build some of that trust early on, which is a lot of organic social media marketing, especially for coaches, is like really helpful.
Mm. Okay. Yeah, I run into that in advertising a lot,
Yeah.
where people say, "Well, the ads aren't working."
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's look in and see that we're targeting the right location. We're targeting the right demographics. We've we've got the right keywords and placements. Um, you know, And then at that point, if people aren't clicking your ads, then your ads aren't saying anything that's interesting to them. So we can
Hmm.
fix that, test that, and actually get numbers.
Hmm.
And then it's up to your landing page. Is your landing page delivering what the ads actually promised? Does it relate to what they searched for? Is it really the answer they were looking for?
So
And
true.
then after that, you can step through into like marketing follow up and even the sales process. But usually, the ads aren't working. Just the technical stuff, the ad delivery, the ad construction, that's really easy to fix. but it's usually a bigger problem than that,
Yeah.
especially for a company that's starting with ads early on and they're kind of using it to test the market and they haven't got their
Yeah.
messaging.
Which is not, and you are more of an ads expert than I am, but that is not typically when I introduce ads
No,
to the mix. It's like way too early.
yeah,
It's very possible to lose a lot of money on ads when you
totally.
introduce them too early in your strategy. You found that as well.
Yeah, for sure. And that's, yeah, like I said, when we have the everything in the ad platform that's doing what it's supposed to do and it's not
Hmm.
converting, then it's nothing to do with the ads themselves or the
Hmm.
ad delivery, the ad software. It's actually a messaging problem,
Yeah, it's like
right? It's
something
an offer
something in this
problem.
brand doesn't feel right. It's not what I want. It's not for me, or I don't really trust that this is what you're saying it is. And those
Yeah.
are like big brand problems. Those are not ads problems. But that's something I
Yeah.
hear a whole lot from clients who are pretty fuzzy, or who in small teams, like the CEO is really clear, but the team is not super clear on
Mm,
what the brand is.
interesting.
Yeah. So we hear a lot of like
Yeah.
social media doesn't work or ads don't work. Well, in the same way that most diets work, but like if only if you do them. Like
Right.
most
Yeah.
advertising or marketing platforms work, but only if you really do them, and have them all the way from start to finish, top to bottom, really buttoned up.
Yeah. Yeah. And running the ads more often or posting that same message to social more frequently, it's not going to fix a messaging problem. Like if your message
Yes.
isn't landing,
Yeah.
then yelling it louder won't help.
Yeah. Which
Right.
is the beauty of ads and social, because you can get that kind of feedback in the data, right? You're like, hey, people are swiping on
Hmm.
this after a second and a half. It is boring in the
Yeah.
first second, right? Like, TV ads, you didn't have that. But it's kind of nice, at least in data, like, or in these types of marketing and advertising, be like, hey, we can actually measure their attention and it is not on us, so this is where we need to fix stuff.
Hmm. So what would your advice be to, um, let's say like a coach who is just developing their program or trying to scale up their operation? Where should they start? Or where would
um,
you start with them?
I would get very, very clear on 5 content pillars. And, folks use content pillars for social, but I would use it for everything. When you're very clear on the 5 things that you're going to say over and over and over again, and how you're going to say them differently from your competitors, and what problem they're going to solve. So that's first one. Second of all, I would work really, really hard on getting social proof. Every bit of social proof that you can. So that's Google reviews, that's LinkedIn reviews. It's, depending on the platform that you're on, it's case studies, it's real screenshots of your current numbers. And then I would repeat and test, repeat and test, repeat and test. It often sounds repetitive to you, but if the numbers are moving, then it's not just the same thing over and over again. If you're repeating and testing and the numbers are staying the same, that is also data, and the data is telling you need to change something out. But if you are
Hmm.
repeating and tweaking your message to this audience in like 5 messages to your audience, and then repeating and testing and tweaking, it's really hard to go wrong there, right? Now the
Yeah.
problem is that's not a quick fix. It takes time. I If that's going to be your main focus, is getting clear on your content pillars, and B, getting social proof, it's going to take a couple months for you to see dollars from this. But that doesn't mean it's not working. It means you are cultivating a brand, and cultivating a brand equals cultivating a relationship and trust with your audience, and trust between human beings takes time.
Right.
So I would be very clear on your message, who you're talking to, how you're different, and I would do everything you can to show, instead of telling, through social proof, that all of these are true and you know what you're talking about.
To prove it with social proof.
With social proof,
Yeah.
social proof
Yeah.
of all kinds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Um,
Yeah.
let me see. And I guess sure where to go from here, but so if someone's interested in working with you, where would they start?
Yeah, so they can always come to yellowkitchenmedia.com. That is my website. I'm also pretty active on LinkedIn. That's where I do a lot of my copywriting. I post a lot about copywriting tips, messaging tips, how to use ChatGPT better, and how to get to the heart of your messaging better. So if any of this sounded interesting to you, that's where I do a lot of my stuff is on LinkedIn. I'm also going to start a Substack pretty soon because I'm a copywriter and I have a lot of things and a lot of thoughts at all times. So look out there on both yellowkitchenmedia.com and LinkedIn. I would
Okay.
love to connect with you.
Yeah, great. Cool. Okay. I will check out your Substack then for sure.
Hey, thank you.
All right. Thanks so much, Amy. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Let's keep in touch.
Yeah, I'd love that. And thanks for having me.
Right on.